It may be a bitter pill to swallow when you find out that your favorite Hollywood couples are going through a tough time or when they've called it quits. It's even harder when infidelity rumors start swirling around. But it can't come as much of a surprise when Hollywood is pretty well known for its notorious cheating scandals. Although, some scandals rock the boat way more than others, especially when a third party is involved. The aftermath of any form of adultery is never pretty for anyone involved. But things can get especially messy when you've got the world tracking your every move. Stay tuned as we look at some of the most devastating and outrageous Hollywood cheating scandals that didn't necessarily end in a happily ever after. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the Rumour Juice channel. Let's start with a scandal that broke many hearts, including ours: the affair and misconduct behind Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner's divorce. After Jennifer Garner's marriage with ex-husband Scott fully ended, she felt as though she had lost all hope in ever finding love again. But luckily for her, Ben Affleck was there to save her heart, at least for a little while. She met her second future hubby on the set of Pearl Harbor, but only got her second chance at love when the two starred together in the Marvel Universe film Daredevil. There were already sparks flying from the first time they met, since it took them less than a year before they tied the knot. Insiders said that on their wedding day, the two made a vow that they would do whatever they could to make their marriage work. A bit presumptuous to already talk about your marriage as work on your wedding day, but it was probably since Jen already knew how much work goes into a marriage after being married before. During their time together, Garner helped her man get his act together by cleaning up his Playboy image and putting his focus on family and work. And it seemed as though her support helped him get back to not only what he loved doing, but what he excels in. Remember that time Ben won Best Picture at the Oscar for Argo?
I want to thank my wife, who I don't normally associate with Iran, but I want to thank you for working on our marriage for 10 Christmases. It's good. It is work, but it's the best kind of work. And there's no one I'd rather work with. So.
At that time, it seemed as though they were going to be one of the few couples that would survive the Hollywood curse. But unfortunately, after 10 years together, Ben's battle with sobriety got the best of him. And it didn't matter how hard Jennifer tried to cling to a broken marriage, deep down she knew that there was no saving it. Well, that and the fact that Ben got caught romancing their 28-year-old nanny. An affair that sparked their separation. The collapse of his marriage sent Ben down a very dangerous spiral as he completely fell off the bandwagon and lost his battle with sobriety. Garner was left feeling responsible for Affleck's well-being and rushed to his side after his relapse. She knew her children needed a father, and so she refused to give up on him. But unfortunately, she couldn't fix him no matter how hard she tried. After years of sticking by her man, Jen knew she had to let him go. And in the end, that was what gave Ben the push to take responsibility for his own undoing, and he finally started to stand on his own 2 feet. We would love to say that this is the only nanny controversy, but it's Hollywood we're talking about. Remember Jude Law and Sienna Miller? Unfortunately for all Jude Law fans, at the time he turned out to be one of Hollywood's biggest disappointments when it came to the type of guy you want to marry. Jude Law and Sienna Miller fell in love on the set of Alfie and were quickly crowned the picture-perfect Hollywood couple, but that didn't last long. In fact, it didn't even last a year. The couple was hardly engaged for 8 months when Law's kid's nanny, Daisy Wright, claimed that the two were involved in an affair during the filming of one of his movies. Jude claimed that he was filled with remorse and very quickly issued an apology to Miller in the British Press Association, saying, "There is no defense for my actions, which I sincerely regret, and I ask that you respect our privacy at this very difficult time." Naturally, Sienna left her nanny-loving husband. Miller told Vogue in 2009, "That was a very pivotal time in my life, and I'm happy saying that. It's a private moment when you get your heart broken for the first time." However, that is not where this controversy ends. Years later, Sienna's phone was hacked and a voice note she left for Daniel Craig while still dating Law was leaked. A voice note that sounded like Sienna confessing her love for Craig. Miller admitted that the voice note was taken out of context and there were no romantic feelings involved. It was not a relationship. It was a very brief encounter. He was my best friend, and so me saying I love you, whether anything romantic had happened or not, that was the way I communicated with him. The couple reconciled 5 years later, but called it quits for good in 2011. Of course, not every Hollywood love affair involves a nanny. Some involve big-time Hollywood directors dipping their toes into more than one pool. Remember that Twilight movie? The one that ended up becoming one of the biggest movie franchise successes of our time? Yeah, that one. It's there where we find another cheating scandal that drove fans up the wall. The two leads, Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart, fell in love with each other both on and off screen. When news broke of their relationship, everyone was obsessed, and we mean obsessed with their relationship. But all of this changed when paparazzi pictures were released of Kristen with her Snow White and the Huntsman director Rupert Sanders. And let's just say they weren't photos of him telling her which camera to look at. The pictures were of Stewart and Sanders engaging in some major PDA. Safe to say, opposing parties were not happy. Robert was heartbroken, and when pictures were leaked, it quickly turned from Team Jacob versus Team Edward to Team Pattinson versus Team Sanders. To make matters worse, Sanders was not only married to model Liberty Ross, but they also shared 2 kids together. Safe to say, Liberty was furious and quickly deleted her Twitter account. But before she pressed delete, she tweeted, "Wow," as well as an Instagram photo of Snow White drinking out of a liquor bottle, saying, "Not so pretty or so pure after all." If that isn't hashtag drama, we don't know what is. Kristen Stewart, who previously never even acknowledged her relationship with Pattinson, issued a surprisingly public apology. "The person I love and respect the most, Rob. I love him. I love him. I'm so sorry." Fans were outraged even after the two reconciled, but unfortunately for Stewart, she never gained her man's trust again, and the two eventually ended things for good. Another young Hollywood star that found herself in hot waters was Mamma Mia star Lily James. Now, what makes this scandal interesting is that Lily James found herself in some adultery drama not only with her Rebecca co-star Armie Hammer, but also married actor Dominic West. It all started when a source revealed that Armie Hammer's marriage with Elizabeth Chambers went through a bit of a downward spiral after she found texts from Lily James on his phone. The texts were reportedly signed Adeline. This name was apparently what Lily was referred to during the filming of Rebecca. Elizabeth was naturally devastated after reading the messages, but she wasn't ready to give up on her relationship just yet and suggested they try therapy, which they did for a while. But the last straw was when Hammer accidentally sent his wife an explicit sexual text that was very clearly meant for someone else. Although we don't know who, we can't help but wonder if it was in fact Lily. Either way, the couple announced their split soon after. Then there was Lily's other transgression. In early October, photos of Lily James emerged where she looked a bit too cozy with the Affair actor Dominic West. The pair were reportedly touring and canoodling all over Rome together. Unfortunately for Lily, Dominic West was still married and still is to this day. James was said to be devastated when she found out that the pair were not only still married, but happily married. She was mortified and embarrassed and promised that she was left in the dark about that significant detail. To everyone's surprise, Dominic and his wife looked completely unaffected by the situation when they were photographed together a few weeks later. They put on what seemed to be a show of unity outside their home, knowing the paparazzi was keeping a very close eye. They even shared a note with reporters saying, "Our marriage is strong and we're very much still together. Thank you." Now, we thought we would save the most outrageous controversy for last, and what we can say for sure is that the story of Kevin Hart's infidelity is, well, confusing to say the least. Kevin married Aniko Parrish in 2016. The two were married for just over a year when allegations of Kevin's infidelity were brought to life. At first, Hart denied that he did any kind of cheating, but it wasn't long until he posted an apology video on Instagram with the caption, "Sending so many apologies to my wife and kids. I gotta do better and I will. I'm not perfect and I've never claimed to be. I love you all." Was it Hart's way of confirming that he did in fact cheat? Now, most Hollywood affairs end with an apology or a divorce, but not this one. This one just gets more bizarre because clearly Hart didn't learn his lesson the first time. It wasn't long after Kevin's apology that he found himself in the center of an alleged extortion attempt. It was revealed that someone was apparently in possession of a video where Hart was engaged in sexual activities with a woman who was not his wife. The person in possession of this tape was trying to expose Hart in an attempt to receive money. This couldn't have been easy for Aniko, especially given that she was 31 weeks pregnant at the time. During an interview with The Breakfast Club, Hart admitted to his cheating, but only after he got busted. Again. Believe it or not, the couple didn't split up and are still together to this day. Hart spoke about the scandal on a podcast in 2020. He said that when Parrish found out, it wasn't a walk in the park, but she came to an amazing conclusion of, "I like the fact that we have a family, that we have a household, and I like the fact that we now got a job to do to get better. That's what you owe me. You owe me to get better."
I'm wrong. I don't want people thinking I'm like, yeah, man, and that's why there's no excuse. I shouldn't have been in the situation. I shouldn't have did it.
Clearly, Anika was not ready to give up on her family. That's all for today.